Hello and welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Miles, representing Back to Your Roots Herbs, and today we are going to have a very honest, very necessary conversation about men's health. Specifically, we are going to talk about the mechanics of vitality and what happens when those mechanics start to falter. If you are listening to this, chances are you or someone you know has hit a wall. You know the feeling, you have the desire, you have the intent, but the body just isn't getting the memo. And usually, the first thing guys do is run to the doctor and get a prescription for the little blue pill. And look, I'm not here to bash that. It works. It forces blood into the area. It's a hydraulic solution to a hydraulic problem. But here is the issue with that approach, and it's something we rarely talk about. Those drugs are band-aids. They force the door open, but they don't fix the hinges. They don't address why the door was stuck in the first place. They don't fix the hormonal signaling. They don't repair the nerves. And they certainly don't stop the internal scarring that happens as we age. Today, I want to introduce you to something different, a plant that doesn't just force a reaction, but actually rehabilitates the system. It's a desert parasitic plant with a history that goes back to Genghis Khan, but with modern science that is frankly startling. We are talking about Cistanche tuberosa. Now, in the world of traditional Chinese medicine, this herb is legendary. They call it Ru Kong Rong, and it's classified as a specific type of tonic, a yang tonic. But don't let the ancient terminology fool you. When we look at this through the lens of modern pharmacology, what we are seeing is a sophisticated restorative agent. Let's break down what is actually going on inside the male body when erectile dysfunction, or ED, sets in. It is rarely just one thing. It's usually a triad of problems. Your hormones are off, your blood vessels are stiff, and your nerves are tired. Cistanche tuberosa hits all three of these targets simultaneously. Let's start with the hormones, because this is where most guys get confused. You might go get your blood work done and the doctor says, "Hey, your testosterone is a little low. Let's put you on TRT." Testosterone replacement therapy. Again, effective, but it comes with a cost. When you inject testosterone, your body's own production shuts down. Your testicles shrink because they aren't being used. It's a dependency loop. Cistanche works differently. It doesn't give you synthetic testosterone. It teaches your body how to make its own again. The science on this is fascinating. Inside your testicles, you have these specialized cells called Leydig cells. Their job is to take cholesterol and turn it into testosterone. But to do that, they have to move cholesterol from the outside of the cell into the mitochondria, the engine room of the cell. This transport requires a very specific doorman called the STAR protein. That stands for steroidogenic acute regulatory protein. As we age or under chronic stress, that STAR protein gets lazy. It stops opening the door. So you have the fuel, cholesterol, but it can't get into the engine. Cistanche, specifically a compound in it called echinocoside, acts like a master key. It physically increases the expression of that STAR protein. It opens the gate, so suddenly your own machinery starts humming again. You aren't replacing your hormones. You are rebooting the factory. And this isn't just theory. In animal studies, particularly models where the reproductive system was damaged by chemicals like BPA, which is in all our plastics, Cistanche was able to restore the enzymes needed to make testosterone to near control levels. It's reversing the damage, not just masking it. But hormones are just the fuel. You still need the delivery system. You need blood flow. And this brings us to the second major mechanism, the nitric oxide pathway. An erection is basically a vascular event. Your nerves release a gas called nitric oxide, or NO. That gas tells the smooth muscle in the penis to relax. When it relaxes, blood rushes in. Simple, right? Well, here is the enemy: oxidative stress. Think of oxidative stress like rust. It's caused by free radicals. When you have high oxidative stress, maybe from a bad diet, smoking, or just aging, that rust destroys the nitric oxide before it can do its job. It literally scavenges the gas away. Cistanche contains another powerful compound called actioside. Actioside is a potent antioxidant, significantly stronger than things like vitamin C in this context. It hunts down those free radicals. It scrubs the rust. By clearing out the oxidative stress, it protects the nitric oxide. This is crucial because it means the signal can finally get through. It creates a push-pull dynamic. The echinocoside boosts the hormonal drive, the push, and the actioside protects the blood flow mechanism. It's a synergy you just don't get with single-molecule drugs. Now, I want to touch on something that I think is the most revolutionary aspect of this plant, and this is something standard drugs do not do. I want to talk about structure. One of the scariest things about long-term ED, especially in diabetic men or older men, is something called fibrosis. This is where the smooth, elastic muscle of the penis gets replaced by collagen, scar tissue. Once that happens, you get something called a venous leak. Basically, you can get blood in, but the tissue is too stiff to trap it, so the blood leaks back out. You lose rigidity. Standard drugs like Viagra cannot fix this. They can pump blood in, but they can't stop the scarring. Research on Cystancia tubulosa has shown that it can actually inhibit the pathway that causes this fibrosis. It's called the TGF-beta pathway. By blocking this signal, Cystancia helps maintain the ratio of smooth muscle to collagen. It keeps the tissue elastic. It keeps the structure youthful. That is what I mean by restorative. We are talking about maintaining the physical integrity of the organ itself. Let's shift gears to the mental side of things. We live in a high-stress world, and stress is a libido killer. We call it the cortisol steal. When you are stressed, your body prioritizes making cortisol, the stress hormone, over testosterone. It thinks you are running from a tiger, so it shuts down reproduction. Cystancia has been shown to lower serum corticosterone, that's stress hormone, while simultaneously elevating testosterone. It flips the switch back. It tells your body, the danger is over, it's time to thrive. This makes it incredibly effective for what we call psychogenic ED, erectile dysfunction caused by stress, anxiety, or fatigue. And speaking of mental health, there is a brand new angle that is honestly groundbreaking. It involves antidepressants. Millions of men are on SSRIs for depression or anxiety. And the number one side effect? Sexual dysfunction. It kills the drive and it makes finishing impossible. It's a cruel trade-off. You feel mentally better, but your love life evaporates. There was a study recently, specifically a 2025 study by Sun and colleagues, that looked at this exact problem. They created a model of depression with sexual dysfunction and treated it with Cystancia. The results were striking. The Cystancia extract didn't just improve the sexual behavior, it actually restored the mating drive without interfering with the antidepressant effects of the medication. In fact, it seemed to enhance the antidepressant effect while protecting the sexual function. They believe it's modulating the steroid hormone pathways that the SSRIs usually disrupt. If you are someone stuck in that loop of choosing between your mental health and your sexual health, this is an area you really need to pay attention to. I know some of you are thinking, okay, this sounds great in a lab, but does it work in people? We have clinical data to back this up. There was a rigorous study done in Thailand, the CAPRA study. They took men with mild to moderate ED and gave them a herbal formula where Cystancia tubulosa was the main driver. After just 2 weeks, the erectile function scores increased significantly. We're talking about a nearly 5-point jump on the index scale. And the interesting thing was the subjective reports. Men didn't just report better erections, they reported better overall satisfaction and desire. And importantly, there were no serious side effects. A little dizziness in a few people, but nothing compared to the headaches, flushing, and vision changes you get with prescription pills. Another study looked at chronic fatigue syndrome. These weren't even ED patients specifically, but they found that the group taking Cystancia had a massive improvement in their sexual life quality scores. It makes sense, right? If you reduce fatigue and boost vitality, the bedroom is the first place you see the benefit. So, how do you actually use this? What does a protocol look like? First, you have to understand that Cystancia is not a pop-a-pill-and-go solution. It takes time to build up. It's cumulative. The clinical trials suggest a loading phase. You want to get the levels of echinacoside up in your system. A typical effective dose of a concentrated extract, and you want an extract, not just the raw powder, is usually around 300 to 600 milligrams a day. You want to look for standardization. If your bottle doesn't say echinacoside greater than 20%, you might just be buying expensive dust. You need those active compounds. Because the active compounds are large molecules, they can be tricky to absorb. The research suggests that your gut bacteria actually play a huge role here. They break down the large molecules into smaller active metabolites that get into your blood. So, having a healthy gut is part of the equation. Also, traditionally, Cystancia is taken with meals. It seems to help with the absorption. Now, a word on safety. Cystancia is considered a Class 1 herb in modern safety handbooks. That means it's safe when used appropriately. But remember, it is a yang tonic. In traditional Chinese medicine, that means it adds heat. If you are someone who already has too much heat, Maybe you have night sweats, a racing heart, or severe insomnia. You might want to be careful. It could make you feel too warm or agitated. It's always about balance. But for the vast majority of men, especially as we get older and things start to cool down, metabolically and physically, this warming effect is exactly what is needed. It's that spark that reignites the life gate fire, as the old texts would say. I also want to mention something for the guys who have had prostate issues or surgery. One of the hardest things to recover from after pelvic surgery is the nerve damage. The cavernous nerves are delicate. If they are damaged, no amount of blood flow medication will work because the signal can't get there. This is where the neuroprotective effects of Cistanche are vital. By stimulating factors like GDNF, glial cell line-derived neurotrophic factor, Cistanche helps these nerves survive and regenerate. If you are looking at a procedure down the line, or recovering from one, thinking about nerve health is just as important as vascular health. It really is a holistic powerhouse. It connects the brain, the hormones, the nerves, and the blood vessels. We are moving away from the era of just treating the symptom. We are moving away from just forcing the body to do something it's struggling to do. We are entering an era of functional rehabilitation. We are giving the body the raw materials and the signaling support it needs to repair itself. Whether you are dealing with the stress of modern life, the natural decline of aging, or the side effects of other medications, Cistantia tubulosa offers a path back to your natural capability. It's not about being superhuman, it's about being fully human again. I hope this discussion has shed some light on why this desert plant is garnering so much attention in the scientific community. It's rare to see something bridge the gap between ancient wisdom and cutting-edge molecular biology so perfectly. Thank you for spending this time with me. If you are ready to take a serious, restorative approach to your health, we are here to help you on that journey. To learn more, please visit us at backtoyourrootsherbs.com. The direct link for information on Cistanche tubulosa for ED is in the description below. Until next time, take care of yourselves.